All right, today we're going to be talking about forced essence compression versus natural essence compression. There's not going to be too much detail about forced essence compression in this example. There's going to be a lot of talk of natural essence compression. All right, so with any type of essence generation, you're going to have different levels. You're going to have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, and 3, 3. And these are just talking about different levels of essence generation. It's not to say or speak of the potency of the essence generation in a specific user or student. In regards to the different levels, we're going to need some foundation on how they behave, how they act, where they go. And that's why I'm standing from camera as such in a very stoic stance. You need to understand that if you're generating 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, it's going to be very sparse. It's going to be sporadic in the body. Light builds do that. They don't have any conglomeration or core, right? Great for light overture intentions, but not so good for focused intention. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, no core, just kind of everywhere. That's where you're going to find your raw essence, really. You're not going to have much of a concentrated essence at that point. That's the purpose of those builds, actually. Would slap on a title for those if it was broad in spectrum, but there are circumstances in which those levels of essence generation behave differently. So that's why. Going to 2, 2, or 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2, 3, you're going to start to see a core developing, right? And that core could be here, it could be there, it could be anywhere really. It's different for everybody, but the most common core is right here in the core, the upper torso center of the chest. You're going to start to see that conglomeration there, and it's going to almost feel stagnant, like solid even, like one item, and you don't want that. You can have that at first, but you're going to want to separate that later if you're going to use it. If it's just sitting, if you're just generating essence, just generate essence, and that's fine. And moving on, 3, 1, 3, 2, and 3, 3, you're going to start to feel a lot of instabilities, lots of, quivering, sparking, issues with stability. Same with 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, but not so much. But 2 is where you start to feel that core, and 3 is where you start to definitely have that core. It's very, very accentuated in one specific location, easy to focus on, but you have a large amount of instability. The purpose of identifying natural compression is so that you can consciously guide that natural compression. It's going to occur naturally, that's why it's called natural compression, but it's not going to be as effective without your conscious input. If you've read directional control, which is a preceding page, preceding subject to this subject of natural essence compression, you're going to see that you can send essence places, even if it's at a 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, doesn't matter what it is, you can send it places if you try hard enough by just willing it to go there, imagining the generation of it in that location. And some things are spoken about in that page referring to that, well, there's still a core it comes from, it kind of goes there, but there's no pathway, or there is a pathway, things like that. But what you want to take into account is that the essence compression will occur with or without the pathing or the directional control. And so if you become conscious of its occurrence, of that pure essence mass pushing out the raw essence instabilities, you can intentionalize it. You can will it to happen more intentionally. You can control it. You can increase its effects. And so that's what we want to do here. So starting at, I would like to say, and this is different for everybody, but let's just go ahead and say starting at like a 2, 2 and upwards, you're going to feel natural essence compression take place. And what that feels like is the essence holding that core here in the upper torso, or wherever, it's different for everybody, and sending some amount of essence down. You're going to want, it's like it's being pulled to the lower area in the body. And the instabilities are going to start occurring, but you're going to feel that if you send that instability or the causation of that instability downwards, you're going to begin to experience less of the effect of that instability. It's still going to be present, but it's not going to be as bad, it's not going to be as potent. So again, so 2, 2 and upwards, I'll go ahead and generate that 2, 2 right now. There we go. Okay, so 2, 2. And I'm going to want to send them down. The horse stance always helps with this, right? So assuming a lax body above the hips and holding a light horse stance. You don't want to rest too much weight on the balls of your feet. Wait, did I say that right? Heels? The heels of your feet. You want to almost be on your toes, right? So you want to shift your weight to your knees forward. It's a little bit of an altered horse stance, but that helps me. You can also use your heels. That's also fine. You're going to see stances change depending on the build, depending on the person, but you want to be like a little bit like this to ground more effectively for myself at this level. If you're too far forward, it's just going to put too much of a strain on your hamstrings, and that's going to be a distraction. You want to have the most lax, relaxed stance possible. Calm yourself and hold that tutu, and then send it, like direct a good portion of it down. Almost to like right here, to the knees if you can help it. The lower the better, and that's going to be natural essence compression. What that's going to do is it's going to reduce the chance of spark for the higher builds, the higher generations of essence. And if you go up into a 3-1, 3-2, and 3-3, that core is going to be very, very situated where it is going to be a lot more defined, and you have a lot more instabilities. Just to showcase, I'll go ahead and do a 3-3 at the moment, and if you look at my body, there is a little bit of sparking. And ninth aspect here, this isn't me just twitching my body willingly for an example on camera. These are natural happenings of the essence itself having an effect on my body at that high level of generation. And later on I'll go into deep build examples, but the deep builds are a lot more profound with these sparks. And these sparks are occurring because I'm letting them. And I'll stop, if I intentionally hold that 3-3 again and send the instabilities down into my lower body, right? Natural compression, intentional natural compression, where I'm working off of that conscious perception of natural compression, you're going to find that there's a lot less sparking. And again, ninth aspect, you want to be true to yourself. If you are actually doing it right, or if there is actual sparking present, or you're not doing it right, or so on and so forth, you want to be aware of that. You want to ask yourself, did I send it as far down as I could? Was there any sparking? Could I improve on things? So again, get calm, enter in that stance. Reach that baseline before you start. Always reach that baseline. You want to be, you don't want to start with residual and exposure and all those things. You want to have a very neutral starting stance. Always, if you can help it. I'm not going to, because there's already residual in my system from the previous essence builds, but that's going to happen, especially in the field when you're out training. So, okay. Full 3-3, and start. And I'm sending it down. And that's a variation of natural essence compression, although a lot more strict on the body, especially in the core. Another variation of it is to let the flow be free, allow the sparks to occur, but only in the lower body. And that's the first step towards a deep build, actually. Showcase that real quick. Always reach that baseline. You should be able to, as you do these things and you're familiar with an HR plus number, you should be able to experience your own heart rate, feel it, hear it, and have a method of breathing that will calm it. And if you don't, then work on it. There's box breathing. There's all kinds of different techniques that aren't listed on the archive. They may be one day, but right now they're not. You don't want to go into things without an elevated heart rate, high blood pressure, because then it's just going to add to the instability. It's going to be another instability you have to worry about. If you start at a low point, then it takes a moment for things to reach that high point, and you have more time to stabilize before you're unstable, right? All right, so again, on the 3-3, with sparking allowed, but lessened by sending it lower, which it's going to appear as though there's more sparking, but there's really not going to be in terms of like my own definition of sparking at that heightened 3-3. Okay, that's enough explanation. If you look at my legs, you're going to see it's down there, not in my torso. And that's how I want it to be, so that I can use my torso for individual actions stably. My legs can be unstable with the sparking. I just don't want my upper body to be unstable. And that's the purpose of that horse stance. Now I'm done. You want to be able to have stability where you need it, and sending that energy down is a form of natural compression. And I think that's the conclusion to this example. Thanks.